Shattered vows. Maya Chen smoothed her hands over the delicate lace of her wedding dress, admiring how the ivory fabric caught the evening light in her bedroom. 3 days until she'd walk down the aisle toward Ethan Reed, her partner of 5 years. Everything was ready. The venue overlooking San Francisco Bay, the caterers, the flowers, the perfect spring weather forecast. Her parents had flown in from Seattle, and her younger sister Olivia had arrived from New York 2 days ago, seemingly eager to fulfill her maid of honor duties. "You look beautiful," came a voice from the doorway. Maya turned to see her mother Lynn watching her with misty eyes. "Thanks, Mom." Maya smiled, tucking a strand of her dark hair behind her ear. At 31, she had built a successful career as an environmental lawyer, but finding Ethan, charming, ambitious Ethan with his easy smile and grand plans, had filled a different kind of space in her life. "Olivia was looking for you earlier," Lynn mentioned, adjusting the wedding dress on its hanger. "She seemed anxious about something." Maya nodded, making a mental note to check on her sister. Their relationship had always been complicated. Olivia, 3 years younger, had spent most of her life seeking attention through impulsive decisions and dramatic relationships. But they'd been closer lately, or so Maya thought. The rehearsal dinner that night was held at the waterfront hotel. Maya floated through the evening in a haze of happiness, accepting congratulations and well wishes from friends and family. Ethan seemed distracted, checking his phone frequently, but Maya attributed it to work stress. His investment firm was in the middle of a major acquisition. "I'm going to find the ladies' room," Maya told her friend Jenna. The hotel was a maze of corridors and conference rooms. As she turned down a hallway, she noticed a service door to the wine cellar slightly ajar. Voices drifting up the stairwell. "You promised this would never happen again," came Olivia's voice, tense and hushed. "Keep your voice down," Ethan responded, his tone sharp. "Maya could hear us." Maya froze, her heart suddenly pounding. She should walk away, she knew that, but her feet carried her silently down the first few stairs. 6 months, Ethan, 6 months we've been sneaking around. You told me you were going to end things with her." "That's not what I said." Ethan's voice was lower now. "I said I needed time to figure things out." "While planning a wedding?" Olivia's laugh was bitter. "I gave up my relationship for you. I moved back here for you. Your sister would be devastated. You know that. It was just supposed to be—" "What? Fun? A distraction? I love you, you idiot." The silence that followed told Maya everything she needed to know. Ethan didn't deny it. He didn't stop Olivia. He didn't defend Maya or their relationship. 6 months. The timeline hit Maya like a physical blow. While she'd been tasting cakes and choosing flowers, Ethan had been with her sister. While she'd been writing her vows, he'd been breaking them before they were even spoken. Maya backed up the stairs silently, careful not to make a sound. Her mind felt oddly clear as she slipped back to the party, smiling mechanically at guests. She watched Ethan return 15 minutes later, followed by Olivia 10 minutes after that. They didn't look at each other, but Maya saw everything differently now. The way Olivia's eyes followed him across the room, the way Ethan seemed to deliberately avoid her sister's gaze. That night, as Ethan slept beside her in their apartment, Maya stared at the ceiling. Tears didn't come. Instead, a strange sense of clarity washed over her. The betrayal wasn't just about the affair, it was about the lies, the deception maintained day after day while planning a future together. It was about her sister, who she'd trusted despite their differences. It was about realizing that the life she'd been building was founded on something hollow. Maya slipped out of bed and went to the window, looking out at the city lights. By morning, she knew exactly what she had to do. Silent departure. The morning of Maya's wedding dawned with perfect blue skies and gentle sunshine, the kind of day wedding photographers dream about. In her hotel suite, surrounded by bridesmaids and her mother, Maya moved through preparations with mechanical precision. She sat still as the makeup artist worked, smiled when appropriate, and spoke when necessary, all while a storm brewed inside her. "You're so calm," remarked Jenna, her best friend since college. "I was a nervous wreck on my wedding day." Maya met Jenna's eyes in the mirror. "I made a decision last night," she said quietly, careful that her mother and other bridesmaids couldn't hear. And it's bringing me peace. Jenna studied her face, concern flickering across her features. Maya, is everything okay? It will be, Maya promised, squeezing her friend's hand. But I need a favor. When everyone goes down for photos, can you stay behind with me for a few minutes? The time passed in a blur of hairspray, champagne toasts, and nervous laughter. Olivia flitted around the room, overly attentive, her voice too bright, her eyes never quite meeting Maya's. When the photographer called for the bridesmaids to head downstairs, Jenna lingered behind as requested. I'm not marrying Ethan today, Maya said simply once they were alone. She stood in her wedding gown, a sleek, modern silhouette with delicate beading, looking more resolute than heartbroken. What? Jenna gasped. Maya, what happened? He's been having an affair with Olivia for 6 months. The words felt strange to say aloud, making the betrayal concrete. I overheard them last night at the rehearsal dinner. Jenna's face crumpled in shock, then hardened with anger. That absolute... I know, Maya interrupted. But I'm not going to make a scene or expose them. I just can't marry him. What can I do? Jenna asked, immediately shifting into support mode. Help me get through the next hour with dignity, Maya replied. And then drive me to the airport. I booked a flight to Bali leaving tonight. When Maya walked down the aisle 30 minutes later, 200 pairs of eyes watched her approach the altar where Ethan stood waiting, handsome in his tailored suit. Her father squeezed her arm gently before placing her hand in Ethan's. Maya felt the familiar warmth of Ethan's fingers, now tainted with knowledge of where those hands had been, what they had hidden from her. You look stunning, Ethan whispered, his smile genuine. That was perhaps the most painful part. He truly believed he could compartmentalize his betrayal, that his love for Maya could exist separately from his affair with her sister. The officiant began the ceremony, his voice carrying across the garden venue. Maya let him get through the welcome, the meaning of marriage, the poems they had selected. And then, just before they were to exchange vows, she squeezed Ethan's hands and spoke clearly. I'm sorry, but I can't do this. A collective gasp rippled through the audience. Ethan's face registered shock, then confusion. Maya, what are you... I know about you and Olivia, she said quietly, for his ears only. I know everything. The color drained from Ethan's face. In the front row, Maya saw Olivia freeze, her bouquet trembling in her hands. I'm not going to embarrass anyone here today, Maya continued, her voice stronger. Turning to address their guests, she said, I apologize deeply, but this wedding will not be taking place. Please enjoy the reception as my parting gift to you all. With that, Maya released Ethan's hands, gathered her dress, and walked back down the aisle, alone. She held her head high even as murmurs swept through the crowd, even as her mother called her name in confusion, even as she caught a glimpse of her father's stricken face. Jenna was waiting at the back with Maya's packed suitcase. They slipped away while chaos erupted behind them. Within an hour, Maya was at the international terminal, her wedding dress exchanged for jeans and a sweater, her carefully styled hair pulled back into a simple ponytail. Are you sure about this? Jenna asked as they stood at the security checkpoint. Maya nodded. I need space to breathe, to think. I need distance from all of them. Call me when you land, Jenna insisted, hugging her tightly. As the plane lifted off that evening, Maya watched San Francisco disappear beneath her. She didn't cry, not yet. Instead, she felt a peculiar lightness. For the first time in months, perhaps years, she was making a decision solely for herself. Broken bridges. 3 months into her temporary escape to Bali, Maya had established a rhythm to her days. She rented a small villa near Ubud, surrounded by rice fields and dense, vibrant greenery. Each morning, she practiced yoga on her porch, followed by strong local coffee and hours of writing. First in a journal, working through her pain and betrayal, and then on environmental law briefs for clients she'd maintained remotely. The distance and change of scenery had given her perspective, though the wound still felt fresh whenever she thought of Ethan and Olivia together. Her phone buzzed with an incoming call. Jenna checking in as she did every few days. How's the self-imposed exile? Jenna asked after Maya answered. Healing, Maya replied, watching a gecko dart across her ceiling. How's the aftermath back home? Your mother calls me weekly to see if I know when you're coming back, Jenna said. Ethan finally moved out of your apartment last month. And Olivia? She hesitated. You can say it, Maya prompted, bracing herself. She and Ethan are officially together now. They're trying to keep it quiet, but it's a small world. Maya absorbed this information, surprised that it hurt less than she expected. They deserve each other. Two people who don't understand what loyalty means. There's something else, Jenna said cautiously. Someone's been asking about you. Noah Winters. Remember him from law school? Maya did remember Noah. Tall, thoughtful, with kind eyes and a quiet confidence. They'd studied together often, been part of the same circle of friends, but had drifted apart after graduation when he took a position with an international human rights organization. He's back in San Francisco, Jenna continued. He heard what happened and wanted your contact info. I didn't give it to him, but I told him I'd ask. Maya hesitated. What did he say exactly? That he was sorry about what happened and would love to catch up if you were open to it. Just as friends, Jenna added. No pressure. After some consideration, Maya gave Jenna permission to share her email address. Later that evening, a message appeared in her inbox. Maya. I'm not sure if you remember me well, but I've never forgotten our conversations about environmental justice and that terrible coffee we used to drink during finals week. I recently moved back to SF and heard about what happened. I won't pretend to understand what you're going through, but I wanted to reach out and say, I'm sorry. If you ever want to talk about anything or nothing at all, I'm here. No expectations, just an open invitation from an old friend. Take care, Noah. Something about his message, its simplicity, its lack of demands, prompted Maya to respond the same day. Their correspondence began cautiously, just updates about their lives and work. Noah never asked about Ethan or the wedding, and Maya appreciated his restraint. Over the weeks that followed, their emails grew longer, more personal. Noah shared stories about his work in Southeast Asia, his struggles readjusting to American life, his newfound passion for photography. Maya found herself looking forward to his messages, to the connection that asked nothing of her but to be herself. 1 month later, Maya received a different kind of message from Olivia. Her sister had sent multiple texts and voicemails since the wedding day, all of which Maya had ignored. This one, however, was impossible to dismiss. Mom is in the hospital. Heart attack. Stable but serious. She's asking for you. 24 hours later, Maya was walking through the sliding doors of San Francisco General Hospital, jet-lagged and anxious. The familiar skyline had felt like an accusation as her taxi had driven from the airport, the city holding too many memories she wasn't ready to face. She found her father dozing in a chair outside her mother's room, looking older than she remembered. When he opened his eyes and saw Maya standing there, he leapt up and embraced her without a word. How is she? Maya asked, her voice thick with emotion. Better today, he said. The doctors say she'll recover, but she needs to reduce stress, change her diet. He studied Maya's face. You look different, stronger. I am, Maya replied simply. Is Olivia here? Her father nodded. In the cafeteria. Maya, she's... Not now, Dad, Maya interrupted gently. Let me see Mom first. As she entered the hospital room, Maya steeled herself for whatever lay ahead. The difficult conversations with her mother, the inevitable confrontation with her sister, and perhaps most challenging, the prospect of rebuilding a life in a city where her greatest heartbreak had occurred. Unexpected comfort. The hospital cafeteria was nearly empty when Maya entered. Fluorescent lights casting a harsh glow over the sparse tables. Olivia sat alone by the window, staring into a cup of untouched coffee, her shoulders hunched forward. She looked up when Maya approached, her eyes widening with a mixture of surprise and apprehension. You came, Olivia said, her voice small. Maya sat down across from her sister, maintaining a deliberate distance. For Mom, she clarified. Not for you. The silence between them stretched, filled with 4 months of unsaid words. Maya studied her sister, noticing the dark circles under her eyes, the bitten nails, the tension in her jaw. Olivia had always been the pretty one, the vivacious one. Now she looked diminished, as though the weight of her actions had physically compressed her. "I don't know where to start," Olivia finally said. "I've practiced this conversation 100 times in my head, and now I can't remember any of it." "How about starting with why?" Maya suggested, her tone cooler than she intended. "Why my fiancé? Why betray me like that?" Tears spilled down Olivia's cheeks. "I don't have a good answer. It started as nothing, just drinks after I ran into him downtown. I was lonely, feeling lost after my breakup with Daniel. Ethan was attentive in a way no one had been in a long time. So you slept with the man I was going to marry. It was wrong. So wrong." Olivia wiped her tears with a crumpled napkin. "I've hated myself every day since." "Where is he now?" Maya asked, surprised by her own calm. Olivia laughed bitterly. "Gone. He left 2 weeks ago. Said he needed space, that our relationship was built on complicated foundations." She looked directly at Maya. "He was never going to choose me. I think part of me always knew that." Maya felt an unexpected pang of sympathy for her sister, quickly followed by resentment for feeling anything but anger. "You both destroyed something I believed in, something that mattered to me." "I know," Olivia whispered, "and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it up to you, if you'll let me." Maya stood, suddenly needing to escape the suffocating conversation. "I don't know if I can forgive you yet, Olivia, but Mom needs us both right now, so I'll try to be civil." The next few days passed in a blur of hospital visits, consultations with doctors, and careful navigation around Olivia. Maya stayed at Jenna's apartment, unable to face the condo she had shared with Ethan. Her father seemed relieved to have both his daughters present, even under such strained circumstances, and her mother's condition gradually improved. On the 4th evening, exhausted from another day at the hospital, Maya returned to Jenna's place to find a small package waiting for her. Inside was a book of Balinese photography and a handwritten note from Noah. "Thought you might miss your temporary home. Coffee tomorrow if you need a break from the hospital? The place on Valencia Street still makes that terrible chai you used to like." Maya found herself smiling for the first time in days. She texted him immediately, and they arranged to meet the following afternoon. The cafe was buzzing with the typical San Francisco crowd. Tech workers on laptops, artists sketching in notebooks, tourists consulting maps. Noah was already there when Maya arrived, sitting at a corner table with 2 steaming mugs. He stood when he saw her, his familiar smile washing over Maya like a wave of comfort. "You cut your hair," she observed, noting how it curled slightly at his temples, a bit of gray now mixed with the dark brown. "You got a tan," he countered, gesturing to the seat across from him. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, as though the years apart had been mere weeks. Noah spoke about his photography exhibition opening the following month, his volunteer work with refugee resettlement programs, his recent adoption of a 3-legged rescue dog named Hobbs. Maya shared stories about Bali, her remote legal work, and gradually, cautiously, the pain of her canceled wedding and her complicated feelings about being back in San Francisco. "I don't know if I can stay here," she admitted. "There are too many memories, too many places that remind me of him." Noah considered this thoughtfully. "The city doesn't belong to Ethan," he said finally. "It belongs to whoever claims it. The question is whether you want to reclaim it or find somewhere new to build your life." Something about his perspective, practical yet gentle, resonated with Maya. They began meeting regularly over the following weeks as her mother recovered enough to return home. Noah never pushed for more than friendship, never made Maya feel rushed or pressured. He simply existed in her life as a steady, supportive presence during a time when everything else felt uncertain. One evening, as they walked along the Embarcadero after dinner, Maya's phone buzzed with a text. She glanced at it, her expression immediately hardening. "Ethan," she explained to Noah's questioning look. "He wants to meet." To explain himself, apparently. "Are you going to?" Noah asked without judgment. Writing my own ending. The coffee shop where Maya agreed to meet Ethan was deliberately chosen, a place they had never visited together, with no shared memories attached to its walls. She arrived early, selecting a table with a clear view of the door, her heart rate quickening despite her determination to remain composed. When Ethan walked in, the immediate physical reaction, the flip in her stomach, the tightness in her chest, surprised her. 4 months ago, she had planned to spend her life with this man. Now he was almost a stranger, someone whose true nature she had discovered too late. "Maya," he said, sitting down across from her. "Thank you for agreeing to see me." She studied him carefully. The familiar angle of his jaw, the way his hair fell across his forehead, the slight asymmetry of his smile. She had once found these features endearing. Now they seemed like components of a mask, hiding something essentially dishonest beneath. "Why did you want to meet?" Maya asked, keeping her voice neutral. Ethan fidgeted with his watch, an expensive gift she had given him for his 30th birthday. "I needed to apologize properly. What I did to you was unforgivable." "Yes, it was," Maya agreed. "But I'm curious why you're apologizing now. Did things not work out with Olivia as planned?" His expression tightened. "That's over. It was a mistake from the beginning. A mistake that lasted 6 months while you were engaged to me." "I got lost," Ethan said, leaning forward. "I panicked about the wedding, about commitment. Olivia was convenient, an escape. But I never stopped loving you, Maya." The words that once would have devastated her now seemed pathetically inadequate. Maya took a sip of her tea, gathering her thoughts. "You know what I realized in Bali? That what hurts most isn't that you cheated. It's that you and Olivia watched me plan our wedding, looked me in the eyes day after day, and deliberately chose to lie. You stole my ability to make an informed decision about my own life." Ethan had the grace to look ashamed. "I know. I've been in therapy trying to understand why I did it. And have you figured it out?" "Partly," he admitted. "Fear of commitment, yes, but also this pattern I have of sabotaging good things in my life, of never believing I deserve them." He reached for her hand across the table. "I miss you, Maya. I miss our life together." Maya gently withdrew her hand from his reach. "That life doesn't exist anymore, Ethan. You and Olivia destroyed it together. She told me you two spoke at the hospital, that you might eventually forgive her." "Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation," Maya clarified. "I'm working on forgiving both of you because carrying this anger hurts me more than it hurts either of you. But I will never trust you again." The finality in her tone seemed to register with Ethan. His shoulders slumped slightly. "I understand. I just needed to tell you how sorry I am and that I'll always regret what I did." As Maya watched him, she realized something important. She felt nothing. No lingering love, no burning hatred, just a calm acknowledgement of what had been and what could never be again. It was, in its way, a form of freedom. "I wish you well, Ethan," she said, and meant it. "I hope you figure out why you hurt people who love you." Later that evening, Maya sat on the balcony of her new apartment, a bright, airy space in a neighborhood she'd never explored with Ethan. The lease was signed just that morning. A concrete step toward rebuilding her life in San Francisco on her own terms. Her phone rang. Olivia. After a moment's hesitation, Maya answered. "I saw Ethan today," her sister said without preamble. "He told me you met." "We did," Maya confirmed. Are you getting back together?" Maya heard the fear in Olivia's voice, the insecurity that had always defined their relationship. "No, Olivia, that's not happening. But I'm not interested in discussing him with you." "I understand." A pause. "Mom asked if you'd come for dinner this Sunday." "Dad's grilling." The invitation hung between them, an olive branch, a small step toward a new kind of relationship built on painful honesty rather than the competitive tension that had characterized their past. "I'll be there," Maya said finally. "But Olivia? Things between us will never be the same." "I know," her sister replied quietly. "But maybe they can be better. Eventually." After hanging up, Maya texted Noah. "Dinner tonight? I have news." They met at a small Japanese restaurant near the waterfront. Noah listened attentively as Maya recounted her conversation with Ethan, her decision to sign a lease on the new apartment, and the tentative steps toward reconciliation with her family. "You seem different," Noah observed, his eyes warm as they studied her face across the table. "More at peace." I am, Maya agreed. I realized today that I'm not angry anymore. I'm just ready. Ready to move forward. Noah reached across the table, his fingers intertwining with hers. Forward to what? Maya smiled, feeling a familiar flutter in her chest, not the anxious, desperate attachment she had felt with Ethan, but something steadier, more grounded. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I know I want you to be part of it. Later, as they walked along the beach, the sun setting in vibrant streaks of orange and pink across the horizon, Noah pulled Maya close. His kiss was tender, unhurried, a promise of patience and respect rather than possession. I've wanted to do that since law school, he admitted, his forehead resting against hers. Maya laughed softly. We have a lot of time to make up for. 6 months after her canceled wedding, Maya stood at the entrance of a gallery in downtown San Francisco, watching as people filtered in to view Noah's photography exhibition. Her mother and father moved through the crowd, admiring the images of Southeast Asian landscapes, including several stunning shots of Bali that Noah had taken during a surprise visit to Maya's temporary home 3 months earlier. Olivia was there too, keeping a respectful distance, their relationship still fragile but slowly healing. They had begun meeting for coffee occasionally, carefully rebuilding trust one conversation at a time. Nervous? Maya asked, approaching Noah as he adjusted the lighting on one of his favorite photographs. A little, he admitted, but having you here helps. Maya squeezed his hand. The work is beautiful, Noah. You should be proud. As the evening progressed, Maya found herself standing before a photograph she hadn't seen before. A shot of herself sitting on the porch of her Balinese villa, looking out over the rice fields, her profile illuminated by golden morning light. The caption read simply, "Beginning again." Noah appeared beside her. I hope it's okay that I included it, he said. You just looked so peaceful, like someone who had survived something difficult and found her strength. Maya leaned into him, feeling the solid warmth of his body against hers. It's perfect, she said softly. It's exactly who I am now. Later that night, in the quiet of Maya's new apartment, with Hobbs snoring gently from his dog bed in the corner, Noah traced lazy patterns on Maya's bare shoulder as they lay entwined in her bed. I have something to ask you, he said, his voice serious enough to make Maya prop herself up on an elbow to look at him. What is it? I've been offered a position documenting environmental initiatives in Peru. 6 months, starting in January. He watched her face carefully. I'd like you to consider coming with me. Not the whole time if you can't with work, but maybe for a few weeks here and there. We could explore it together. Maya considered the offer. The prospect of another adventure, not an escape this time, but a journey forward with someone who saw her clearly and valued her completely. I'd like that, she said, her smile reflected in his eyes. I'd like that very much. As Noah pulled her close, Maya reflected on the strange, painful path that had led her here. The wedding that never happened had felt like an ending, but it had actually been the beginning of self-discovery, of healing, of finding a love built on honesty and respect rather than illusion and convenience. She had walked away from a lie and toward a truth, and in doing so, she had written an ending and a beginning far better than she could have imagined.